Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're watching by video, you've already seen that we have a new guest today that I am absolutely thrilled to have in the podcast. Her name is Judith Nisenson. She is the wife and partner of Adam Nisenson, who you all have probably gotten to know over the last few podcasts. And he's done a completely marginal job. I'm just kidding. He's done a fantastic job. But today we have his wife and partner and just brilliant helper, Judith. So Judith, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about this taboo subject.
Not as excited as I am. I'm just going to read a little bit of your bio for the audience that they can know a little bit about who you are and you can expand on it. So you're the founder of Women's Work. You're a certified life coach and betrayal trauma coach. You specialize in helping women who've betrayed their partners. Your work focuses on guiding women to face the truth of their actions, dismantle denial and rationalizations, and step into authentic accountability and transformation. So the first question would be, how did you get into this work?
Great question. You have a podcast of Unfaithful, and there's a lot of unfaithful people out there. So I started my journey by becoming a betrayal trauma coach, but I was working with betrayed women. You know very well my husband, Adam, Betrayal Shrink. He is a betrayed male. So he started writing a book and he was doing his thing. I was doing my thing. And when he started going through his journey, he discovered that there was a missing. What about the women? This is so one-sided. Even in my training with APSATS, it was like, okay, what about everybody would, every now and then a male be like, okay, is there anything for guys that have been betrayed? So we both noticed that it was a huge missing. So it inspired him to write his book. And then that was his deal. And he was doing what he was doing. And I was still working with betrayed women. Then as he started getting busier with the men, we started noticing that there was a huge missing for the women betrayers, the cheaters that I call them, cheaters. And I was like, wait a minute, there's something here. And as I was going through my own journey and discovering this work and what is an affair and what isn't an affair, what is betrayal and what isn't betrayal, I realized that I was a cheater too. I had cheated on my ex-husband with an emotional affair. And I had those type of affairs, but I never saw them as such because I never crossed the line. It was never physical, but there was something that other person was giving me. But in that moment, I just dismissed it because my body and my heart was over here. And the things that I would share with whoever it was, a good guy friend who of course was interested in more, but I just ignored that part. And I'm like, no, this feels good. I didn't realize what I was doing. So that happened. Of course, I had an emotional affair, got divorced, that marriage ended. And then met Adam, got together, have the most amazing, healthiest relationship. And as we started doing this work is when I discovered that I too was an unfaithful at one point. So by doing that, I've been able to understand myself through that journey. I've been able to see what I was missing. And what I noticed in this work as I started doing, and by the way, it's been really crazy. Like I literally switched to doing this like maybe the beginning of the year. And as soon as I started my podcast, like my calendar just got booked. Like I didn't realize how needed this was. So it was through my work on myself that I discovered, it's like, wait a minute. I think there's a huge missing here. And the biggest component is that in this society, we're not allowed to, if you would, we're not entitled to, as women, to step out of our marriages or cheat on our partners because there's big shame aspect of it.
And that's a good question because I've been working with betrayed men for close to 20 years, and men feel like every podcast, every video there is when he cheats or this or that, and they shriek with horror because they feel like they're on this island that nobody really even understands. So do you think it's the same way for women who are out there trying to read and watch podcasts or videos, and they constantly hear people say, when he's unfaithful and when she's betrayed? Is it the same for the unfaithful female?
I don't believe so. It's the same and it's different because we're different. Men are different for women. Biologically, mentally, we're just different. And part of that difference, I believe, stems from society. Like, since we both know and have been alive, women have always had this role that we have to fit into, right? We're the caretaker, we do this, we're the wife, we self-sacrifice, we do this, we do that. We fall into that role. And if we don't, there's something wrong with us, right?
Yeah.
The bad thing is that we believe that. We believe that that's also true. And therefore, we never really get to know who we are as women. So what I noticed when I was younger, I was fulfilling that need through someone else and never even thought that was betrayal.
Yeah.
But now I understand it. It's like, no, those are the most intimate thoughts that I have. If I have something I want to share about a hobby, it doesn't matter what it is, that should be my partner, my husband, right? Because of the shame that they find themselves in, I believe that they self-isolate. And what I've discovered, like all these women reaching out to me, is like, I don't know who to talk to. I don't even know how to say this. Like they are just so frozen by the shame. And then life gets worse because then the husband is hurt. He is now going through his own betrayal trauma. And then his ego gets shattered. And then he becomes abusive because why? And then there's this horrible cycle that happens and they both get stuck.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with the shame. So I think the shame is where a lot of these women isolate and they stay stuck in.
So in one of your talking points, you make the statement that betrayal is rarely about the affair itself, but about unresolved wounds, unmet emotional needs, and avoidance of vulnerability.
Yes.
So talk more about that and what that looks like in you being in this space of unfaithful women. How does that play out?
Going back to what I just said, as women, we're presented with a role already ready for us to just fit into. And we do so because we don't have brains at that time. We're young. We don't know what we want. We don't even know ourselves, right? And we're constantly changing every single day. So when you get lost in that and you are in that role and you are fulfilling that role, but deep down inside, there's something that still doesn't seem right, I think it's because we have not discovered who we are. We have not found our voice. We have not had experience to like understand what's happening within us. So I think that's what's really, really missing. I think that's what's at the core, that women don't understand themselves, don't understand their voice. And whenever they're not happy and they're in this illusion that I have everything I want, I'm married, I have the kids, I have this role, I'm filling this role, and yet something's missing, that's where they need to start questioning. But then we're not taught to speak out because we got to just, take it. This is what it is. This is our bed. We lay in it. Yeah. So then they're told that they're not happy. And what I figured out is that at that age or in that state of life, communication is not something that we just are born with. It's something that's cultivated and something that we learn. Okay.
Right.
So that's the other aspect of this. There's a lot of miscommunication or zero communication. So what I noticed that for every woman that comes to me, we start with, who are you? What do you want? What are your values? Let's get to know who you are. Yeah.
Right. And I think that at another critical juncture, right, it's being able to understand, why did we act out? So for the unfaithfuls, if they can't put together a why, if they can't explain why, then the betrayed's over here going, well, how do I know you're not going to do it again if you don't know why you did it in the first place? So do you feel like women also who've been unfaithful have to go through a real process to find out why they actually made the choices that they've made?
Absolutely. That's actually necessary. We have to look back. We have to uncover those things and we need to understand them. It's crazy because the women I've worked with, they'll have these ahas. Oh my gosh, like this happened. And oh my God, that's where I learned this pattern. And oh, now I see where I started minimizing. And so this started when I was the middle child of 5. So it goes back to way back when. But then there's an understanding there finally. It's, oh, wait a minute. I learned being the middle child that I didn't have a voice, for example. So it didn't matter if I said anything, no one was listening. So I just learned to shut up. So now when I'm here with this thing and it doesn't feel right, I don't even know how to use my voice. I can't share with my partner what I'm missing or what I'm feeling or what I want. And then even bringing that up is scary because then the partner is going to be like, what's wrong with me? And it just gets crazy. So
Yeah.
I believe that it's just radical honesty that has to happen with herself first. And it's crazy because as soon as they get that and they understand it, then they're better able to understand why and then articulate it to their partners.
No, I think you make an excellent point. You had said this before, and I think it's true for both unfaithful females and males, is that most betrayal work focuses on the betrayed partner's healing, but the betrayer has their own recovery path that requires accountability and integrity. It's interesting, though, because it's oftentimes that a betrayed will feel like, so all the work is being done on my unfaithful, and I'm over here lost with nobody helping me, no support, because we're trying to curb or fix the behavior or the addiction. But what about me? But you make the point that the betrayer has to have their own recovery. So with women who've been unfaithful, what do you find are some of the biggest roadblocks to them being able to take accountability and walk in a sense of congruence and integrity?
Facing the truth. The shame floods them so deeply that they go into denial and they just cannot accept the fact that they did what they did. So they go into defending, minimizing, justifying, which just creates more space between the couple because there's no understanding here. It still doesn't get to the root cause of why. So
Right.
facing the truth is the number one thing. And the reason I'm going to bring it up again, it's shame. Shame is, Adam actually taught me something about shame that I like to share. He's like, shame is unspeakable. It just floods you, it silences you. The thing about healing is you can't heal something you can't talk about.
Mm,
So,
that's excellent. Yeah.
so we need to literally, when they come to me, I encourage them to find their courage to face the truth. And when they come to me, most times this is the first time they've ever had a space to say it. And it's beautiful to see on the screen. I know it's not the best circumstances, but it's beautiful to see like the load just come off of them when there's, oh my God, this is the first time I've said this. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, how does that feel? He's like, actually feels good. I was like, yeah, because now you're getting to own it. Like it, and then the other thing that I remind him, because the shame is so insidious, is like shame tells you are bad. Guilt tells you did something wrong. So let's try to reframe everything from I am to I did.
Right.
And that helps them also because then they're able to just articulate it more. There might be some sirens. Let me know if that.
You're fine. So, in terms of with the unfaithful females, sometimes they can fall into this trap of if I just do the right things, if I just check these boxes, which unfaithful males do all the time. I just do this, I do this, but it's not authentic.
Nope.
It's not from what you talk about, which is taking time and consistency. So, how do you help the unfaithful women really, because they've been living a double life, or they've had multiple affairs, or just one? How do you help them get into a form of authentic recovery work? What does authentic recovery work look like for the unfaithful female?
Different for every single one, but usually, again, starting with the shame, it starts with them stating the truth. So I literally say, okay, let's get a piece of paper and let's write down what you did. And let's
Yeah.
start with I did X, I did Y, and just write it all down. Let's normalize it. Let's get it outside of you. And let's leave it in the past. We're going to work with it now, but the person that's working on it now is not the same person that betrayed. And that's where I ground them. Like, we're focusing, you're here in front of me right now because you did this and you want to correct it and you want to learn and you want to reconcile. Maybe, or
Right.
maybe not. Sometimes they don't. Ultimately, you want to get to know yourself and you want to heal this so that you don't bring it on to the next relationship or to the new relationship you're creating with your spouse.
Right.
That's one way. Yeah.
How do you bridge that gap? Because unfortunately, so many unfaithful male or female will weaponize that. Well, I'm not the same person anymore. I'm not that same person. Stop talking about the past. And then we have these wonderful little Instagram helping posts that says you can't heal a wound by touching it, which is BS because you have to touch it if you're going to be able to heal. You have
You
to
have to
do
go through it.
surgery if you're going to be
You
able
have
to
to go through
heal.
it.
But how do you bridge the gap with them that might say, well, I'm not that same person? Well, ask the betrayed. The betrayed is going to say, you're still the same person. So how do you help them own what they've done while still trying to build the new and experience
Hmm.
transformation?
It starts with self-trust. They have to trust that they are this new version of themselves that they're choosing to create. And it starts by them trusting themselves and not expecting trust from anyone else. It starts with self-trust. So if I can trust that
Excellent.
I'm going to do what I'm going to do because I said I'm going and I'm on this journey, and the betrayed, my ex-husband, is still angry at me, that's not going to deter me from the trust in myself in the moment. I can still be with that trust and understand that he's in his pain. And that's not going to remove me from there. That's the strength that I like to teach. What is your platform? What are you standing in? Let's create it. Let's create it strong. So that way, when this happens, because it's going to happen, it's going to get ugly. He's going to lash out. He's going to verbally abuse you. And let's understand it's not him, it's his pain. And
Right.
you created that pain. So we have to create space for that pain to be exposed. Like you said, do surgery and let's see what's here. The biggest problem I also find is because of that shame, women have allowed, like, this is also a tricky part, and I don't know if you've experienced this as well, where the unfaithful is trying to do everything possible. But then what they don't realize that sometimes it's at their cost. They're no longer showing up authentically because now they're showing up as this person that needs to do X, Y, and Z to reconcile. And that doesn't work. It's a couple of things happening at the same time. Yeah, how do we hold space for his pain and his healing while at the same time holding my integrity and having my boundaries for safety? Even though I did what I did, I can still create boundaries to where, you know what, I see you're really triggered right now and I think you're going to be abusive. So I'm going to give you a moment and I can do that. Even though I know I did what I did, I have the right to protect myself too. And that's where they get lost. They're like, I have to do it for him and that's what he wants. And I'm like, yeah, but what about you? Does that feel
Yeah.
authentic for you? And they're like, no, but this is what I have to do. I was like, that's not going to work because now you're creating a version of yourself that's not sustainable.
Right.
Doesn't work.
Where does the concept of self-forgiveness show up for the unfaithful female?
Self-forgiveness, it starts with the understanding of the whys. And that's where a lot of people get stuck because why? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why did I do this? But if you take the time and do the work and you understand the whys, forgiveness is very easy because you can get to forgive. You can forgive that version of yourself who didn't know how to speak. You can forgive that person of yourself that didn't have the tools to regulate. You're not the same person. So when you understand of the things that you did not have, the understanding of the things you did not have that you have now, then it's, oh, it makes sense. Forgiveness is
Yeah.
easy. It's easy.
In your talking points, you talk about betrayal creates moral injury for women betrayers. What does that look like? What is a moral injury
A
for them?
moral, it goes back to the shame because, like I said, when we first started, we're not supposed to do that. We're
Yeah.
women. We're supposed to be a certain way. So when we find ourselves in this emotional or physical affair, it feels good. It's feeding something that I'm needing, right?
Yeah.
So there's this dichotomy in my brain and dissonance going, wait, how can this be so bad if it feels so good? Right? So I think that's one of the traps.
And then you talk about how moral injury can lead to deep self-loathing, anxiety, and depression. So how do you help them with the self-loathing? Because even the unfaithful men deal with self-loathing, right?
Yeah. A lot of time, Sam, it takes time to acclimate. Like you got blown with a betrayal. It's unexpected. Time, your brain needs time to acclimate, to process, and to understand it. I think the self-loathing happens normally. And if people don't get the help that they need, counselor, coaching, therapist, friends, family, anybody, then they're going to be stuck in that even longer. So if there's anybody out there that finds himself right now self-loathing, this is your clue to talk to somebody.
Yeah. It's a uniform principle that when the betrayed feels like the unfaithful is in all of this self-loathing and shame, as Terry Real calls it, it's just another form of self-preoccupation. I'm such a terrible person. I can't believe I did this, and all of that. Do you find that women have to utilize the same tools to be able to self-forgive, or is there a nuance that's different due to society and culture in the female that they have to utilize?
I think that's what I'm creating right now. I think this is what this is. I think because women creating a women's group, bringing these women together, the feedback I'm getting is that we're normalizing it, and not normalizing it because it's happened. It's always happened. This is not new. People get betrayed all the time. It happens all the time. But now we're actually normalizing the conversation about it. So women's group, 10 women show up and they're just mind blown that there's 9 other women that have cheated on their spouse, and they don't feel alone anymore. And that's what I think is the most important thing as society, except this is what's so. We do this. We're human. What are we going to do about it? Let's talk about it. Because now we know the source. Once we know the source, maybe this can help people to know themselves before they go into betrayal. That's my ultimate goal, to have this information in front of people who are in healthy relationships, to show them, like, hey, you got to maintain these things. This is what's going to keep you healthy and connected. Yeah. So I want to get in front of it. That's ultimately my goal.
No, I think that's wonderful. My last question for you, and it's more of an opportunity to maybe reach those that are watching and listening. I remember 20 some odd years ago sitting in a field by myself and was suicidal and was just like, it was more like 25, almost 30 years ago that I said, this is so awful. I hate how alone I feel, that I've created my own mess. This is nobody's fault but my own. And I remember calling a mentor that I had just gotten to know, and he talked to me as I sat in this field by myself and really just was a voice. Because I come from faith, I would call it God just reaching to help me. But what would you say to the unfaithful female that's out there going, man, this sounds too easy. This sounds too good to believe. I just hate what I've done. My world is falling apart. My life is falling apart. Maybe an unfaithful female who's had a recovery work that's just kind of shoddy and hasn't really taken a lot of action. Or maybe the person that stumbled upon this and is like, maybe she can help me. What would you say to the unfaithful female who's just in a foxhole going, man, I don't know how that I can ever get my life back. And I don't even know what my whole life is going to look like.
What I would say is you're not alone and your pain matters. That's my tagline for my podcast. You are not alone. There's a lot of us out here and we can work together to get through this. Right now it feels hopeless. Been there. I understand. And I've seen it over and over again. Women get out of it and they become better, happier, full, because they finally get to know themselves. And I can guarantee, I can almost say I can guarantee that you will discover something about yourself, and that'll be a blessing, whether you reconcile or not.
Right. And I think it requires an incredible amount of courage. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that you model today is the courage to lean in and face it and not run from it, and to be able to say, okay, this has happened. Now what am I going to do? And I think it was Mike Tyson that says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And everybody has a plan until we punch ourselves in the face with our own choices. I love the concept of just the courage and the resilience to take action. So if people want to find out more, if they want to see if they can work with you and find out about your caseload, if they want to find out about your website or your groups, how can they find you and how can they reach out to you?
Absolutely. They can find me at womenswork.com. That's my website. I have a page for betrayers and for betrayed. So if you're doing either or, But right now I'm really focusing on the betrayers because I know you need me more. So come on. I also have a podcast out. It's called Women Cheat Too. People can start listening to that as well. And then Adam and I have partnered up and we started Betrayal Talk. And Betrayal Talk is without an A. So it's Betrayal TLK. It's on Instagram and we're going to get it out there. But the best way is women's work, no O, WOMENSWRK, which I'm sure you'll put in the link. And just shoot me an email or go online and fill out one of my forms. And I usually get back to you within 24 hours. I would love to have a conversation. And thank you for having the courage, right? Thanks for having the courage to show up.
Well, and I'm so thankful for you coming in. You and Adam are just wonderful people who have a heart to teach people how to rescue themselves. And we're not in the business of rescuing people. They've got to rescue themselves. But you've got so many helpful tools to help them. So for those of you that are looking for help, man, Judith or Adam are great people. If I can help in any way, you can reach out to me at samshealingpodcast@gmail.com. I'd love for you to like and subscribe to the podcast. And Judith, thank you so much for coming in. We'll have you in again soon.
I'm looking forward to it, Sam. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time on the podcast.